Ultimately, I think I have to say that the Stranger Things finale stuck the landing. Like there are things I could like nitpick or whatever, but I feel like it did well enough. I think this is a passing grade. This is like a 4 out of 5 in my book. I feel like it even managed to convince me of some things that I had disliked about the show during my entire time watching seasons 2 through 5. Because as the show went on, the characters went from being the monster's prey to being heroes fighting against the monsters. And that's been one of my biggest gripes with this show. I kind of wish that we stayed in season 1 where we were afraid of Demogorgons. But seeing the finale and the party going up against the Mind Flayer kind of made me realize that, wait, pause, that's the entire point of the show. You know, this band of regular people have the opportunity to become heroes. And I hope that is the message that reaches this audience. And I hope this audience can watch this and recognize that, hey, in my day to day life, I can be a hero. That doesn't necessarily have to mean something like literally fighting a mind flayer. That could just mean offering kindness and bringing people into your group the way that Hopkins kids amassed this entire party of people. But yeah, honestly, I think my negatives would be just I felt like the show went longer than it needed to. Like we could have introduced Henry and the Mind Flayer both in season 2. Basically like do all of the season 4 stuff in season 2, and then do this season 5 stuff in season 3. That's a big part of why I don't believe the Duffers when they said they had this entire thing planned. Because when I think back to like seasons 1, 2, 3, I do not feel Vecna's presence there. It felt like seasons 1, 2, 3, I could believe that the Mind Flare was there, but then it just feels like Vecna showed up in season 4, and then we're retroactively establishing that Vecna was a part of this plan the entire time. So while I don't think this finale is perfect, I do think it's good enough, and I enjoyed it. I want to just focus on Vecna for a minute because Vecna came in season 4, and I was honestly so dissatisfied with him. Vecna is one of my favorite characters from the D&D mythology, so I was really excited to watch season 4, knowing that my favorite D&D villain was being adapted into Stranger Things. But I disliked that he was a guy that could just be beaten by teenagers. He didn't feel like the climactic villain that Vecna of D&D is. But I feel like season 5 has really done some work to repair that. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it has. Like, in volume 1, he shows up and deals damage, right? In volume 2, we're seeing how like manipulative he is. And in this final volume, the finale, they take the time to like acknowledge that, Henry Creel was a victim of circumstance. He found himself in an unfortunate situation. However, his continued relationship with the Mind Flayer was a personal choice, right? He could have resisted, he could have turned back at any moment, but he willed to be one with the Mind Flayer. And I think that's the best decision that the Brothers made with the entire Stranger Things franchise. I did not want for Vecna slash Henry Creel to just be this tragic victim of the Mind Flayer and we have to feel bad for him as we defeat him. No, Henry Creel willingly inflicted all of the harm he did upon the people of Hawkins, and he was fully like sober and sentient while doing that, and I love that choice. Tragic kid becomes monster. Love that because we're having him be opposed by these new children who they were also faced by misfortune, but they chose love, but they chose to be heroes, right? So I think that's nice. I think that's nice. Also, I think that with the entirety of Stranger Things and seeing how it has progressed, I think it has perfectly captured the feeling of a long-term TTRPG campaign. And I found that quite surprising, seeing that the brothers didn't have much experience with D&D. So yeah, I don't know, I kind of feel like all of my nitpicks are kind of about like logistics, like and unanswered questions. And I just feel like some of those questions don't need an answer, like who opened the door that night with Will, or just other stuff. And I just feel like I'm fine with that not being answered. I liked that the ending with 11 was up to interpretation. Like some people will believe that Mike's theory was correct. Some people believe that Mike's theory is just a theory. I like to assume that Mike's theory was his way of coping, and I also like to assume that Elle is alive, but she is elsewhere in the multiverse, like when the wormhole closes. Yeah, just generally, I'm satisfied. I don't know if you enjoyed this like more freeform way of delivering it. Let me know how you feel about the finale.